So who's taking a foundation class or anything at all? One. Okay. When you guys see foundation design, you just say, oh, what's a bearing capacity? Bearing capacity is an artifice. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's not necessarily by itself a soil property. It has many other factors associated with it. When we're looking at foundations, we have to look at a couple of things. We have to look at bearing capacity and ensuring that we don't have catastrophic failure, but at the same time we have to look at settlement. And that's really the more important part of all of this. Is if it settles excessively, it may not be a safety issue to have excessive settlement. You're going to have very unhappy people occupying that building. This is what the general bearing capacity equation looks like. Looks complicated. It's got a few factors in there. You have the soil itself, the shape of the foundation. Is the footing on a slope or not? But really, you have to know the bearing capacity, but the settlement, it's a much more significant issue. Now, I've seen projects where I show up and all of a sudden the footing for this big building is sitting at the crest of a 2-to-1 slope, and it's sitting 18 inches down. What could be the problem there? Well, you don't have any confinement. That foundation is not going to stay there. So it's just pretty basic stuff to look for. Those are things to be concerned with. Footings. If you're putting a footing right next to an existing footing, you can have issues of inducing settlement on the existing footing because you're removing confinement. Or on the other hand, if you're putting the new foundation in and it's a lot heavier, you can have some little bit of drag down going on there. So when you build and design, you have to be mindful of what you're doing regarding foundations. This is sort of what happens when you have a bearing capacity failure. It's very spectacular, very large. What happened there, come to find out on the other side, they were doing a basement excavation, so they removed confinement for this whole thing on a large scale. So if you imagine you're building here, you ground here, everything ground, and also you start excavating here. Can't even credit, pretty stiff structures. But it doesn't work when you remove the ground. This you may have seen. This is a pretty famous case. You can look it up online. Anyway, that was sort of a dumb mistake. That should have been caught, but wasn't. This building sitting on a big mat foundation, and it settled about as much as you would expect it to settle. Which was about 8-10 inches in the middle. But guess what? Nice brickwork doesn't like that. So even though it behaved as you would expect it to behave, that's too much deformation for regular construction. It's not a safety issue. The thing's not going to fall over or do anything. It's just too much deformation.
Right.
Yeah.
You think that probably happened because it was rushed for the Olympics? Because there's a lot of rush construction during that time?
I don't know. I don't know if that would be the case. I think what happened there is somebody really wasn't paying attention. You run things through a computer and you don't have any basis of common sense or gray hairs.
Okay.
And then nobody really reviews that with a critical mind. I mean, this should have been caught right away. And you said, that foundation that big, and you're telling me this is going to settle an inch? No, it won't. It'll settle more than that just because of the nature of what you're building.
Yeah.
So,
plus, I believe engineers relied on only one method of subsoil exploration. They used standard penetration test results to design the footing. And they should have used other methods of testing the soil in the field to make sure that they are using the right numbers. So they too much relied on standard penetration test results.
you must be friends with Dr. Main, don't you?
Yes.
Okay. Fellow Conehead, all right. So, unfortunately, that costs a lot of money, but you have to take the brick out, redo it, and all of that. So, this is where paying a little bit more attention on the front end saves you a lot of money. later on, and you don't have to do this.